for our second matchup of the day. It's going to be Beastcoast taking on Astralis. And, again, kind of like we talked about earlier, as we see these teams go head-to-head here, Beastcoast just looking for signs of life. That has not changed from yesterday to today. I guess they did win a couple rounds on attack. There is something there. But Astralis with a great opportunity to build on their first win of the stage and maybe finish the week with 6 points out of 2 wins. We'll see.
Probably going to say it every time Beastcoast play until he comes back, but not having Ferda in has seemingly been really rough for Beastcoast. 10th place right now, 10th in both attack and defense. Like, it's just not been a great stage, and I think Mark being in has not only made them suffer because Mark is obviously a coach, and while he played back in the day, he's obviously a little bit rusty, but it also feels like it's impacting the rest of the players, and it feels like the mental on Beastcoast is kind of shot just through the fact they can't play with their whole roster.
Yeah, it's a matchup of an Astralis team that did find footing yesterday, which was great to see, but then a Beastcoast squad that, like it or not, we're going to keep on talking about them in this way until there actually is some other big change. I think the only real 2 things I've seen from Beastcoast is 2 players seem like they're performing at expectations at minimum, but no one is anywhere close to actually exceeding it. The same actually can be said for Astralis. It doesn't feel as though anyone is really blowing up what we've known about them or is at the exact average that we've grown to expect from a team that was second at Charlotte, went to Berlin in first place as the number 1 seed out of the stage. But still, I think it's mostly just a question of what is Beastcoast going to do to shake up the formula they've had for the first 3 games.
Yeah, I mean, this is Astralis having the opportunity to go to 7 points, puts them right back in the conversation for the major. Everybody was kind of, saying doom and gloom for Astralis heading into this week. After this week, kind of looking like old Astralis if they get a win here. For Beastcoast, I kind of don't know what to say because when you watch them, there's just not much to say about them. They're struggling right now. It's kind of one of those games where you're like, let's go next.
There you go. Well, we can't do that. We have to actually watch.
I wish.
I get the sentiment. For now, though, we're gonna talk a bit more about Beastcoast, but first we're gonna watch a little bit of some interviews we did with them to kind of get their feelings coming into the stage. Some expectations.
I'd expect a really good stage out of me. A good performance. I mean, I'm not coming here to disappoint anybody. Get a lot of kills, get a lot of wins.
I'm gonna take the stage off. I expect them to carry me.
Our biggest rival would probably just be OXG because they have our former player.
Probably Oxygen just because of the sweater situation. I just think, they're a team who thinks very highly of themselves, so if we can come in and beat them, it'd be fun. And I think there's gonna be a lot of back and forth. I took a break for a while, and then I ended up coming back. I came back and made the NAL. Leaving, going to school, coming back, and getting your dream job is always nice. So.
Come around stage 1 when we lost to Mirage, kind of just fumbled our major spot. It was like my first Pro League stage to be that close to being at a major already, my first stage, and kind of like when losing to them, like it hurt bad. After that, it just gets me ready for the upcoming stages to just bring the same type of competitiveness.
We're all striving for one goal, so we're gonna come to every play day with, the best intentions and try to come in as hot as possible. I just want to attain the goal of, winning a major and then winning an invite. That's what every player I think wants when they come into the NEL is to make it to the top. So I don't think I'm going to stop until I make it there.
At least top 10. At least top 10.
I mean, well, congrats to Surf. They are top 10 in NAL. That is true. So mission accomplished there. But I think they want a little bit more. And my heart kind of breaks for Ferda a little bit. I mean, he's in Vegas. He's practicing with the team. Again, working on the visa situation to get him to be able to play in the league. For now, Mark's filling in. But obviously those expectations are high. It's disappointing when you can't put that stuff into practice.
Life's tough for the Canadians, man. I know all too well the visa troubles of getting down to the US of A. We hope that Ferda, can make it in at some point because he really does feel like the key that Beastcoast need. At the moment, they are struggling quite hard without him.
It's really weird saying that about somebody who we haven't seen play at a Tier 1 level before, but everyone's kind of hoping that even when he does come back, it will mean that this Beastcoast team is actually able to shape up in the right way.
Yeah.
But here's what I meant specifically about, are any of the Beastcoast players kind of at expectations? I'd say Surf isn't the world leader that he was back in Stage 1, but I do think that he's still kind of at a level where if I look at his stat line, I'm not going to think it's literally the end of the world or cause to hit the panic button. And I think the same goes for Slash because he's still meant to be playing in a supportive role, and if you look at just at his numbers, he's kind of where he's meant to be. Zeno isn't, Anthony most certainly isn't, and Mark is just always going to be the wild card who even though he's not being relegated specifically towards just breach, he's playing more roles that expect more kills out of him. If he's playing line, if he's playing offsite or lurking a little bit, if he's got more of a mute responsibility, it doesn't just mean that he's going to be relying on his abilities and activating them to get them through rounds. It's more that you're going to need to get a kill, 2, 3 here and there. Right now, he's minus 10 on his KD. He's 13 and 23, which honestly, you don't want to just like expect too many things out of a coach who had to sub it at the very last second, but still, it makes me wonder if Mark and Slash were to make some kind of role change, does Slash have what it takes to play on a slightly more aggressive role? Like, I don't know what Beastcoast themselves need to do here to shake things up.
Yeah, I kind of feel bad, honestly, because in that interview, Ferda says, you know, he wanted to be the best player on the team. He wants to put up numbers, honestly, he is. Everybody on their team right now is negative. He hasn't played a game, so he's even. So congratulations, Ferda. You are the best player on Beast Coast.
Not an ideal title that he wants to have maybe at this point. I think when you take a look at Beast Coast, one player that unfortunately sticks out is Anthony. And, you know, he's somebody that I know, Super, you've been kind of critical on in the past.
Certainly sticks out.
And rightfully so. But I want to say, you know, I'm an optimist. I want to look at the bright sides. I get why people don't really see a lot from this player so far. He is the only player in the league right now with 0 opening kills. And he does only average 1 kill every 4 rounds. And he does have a KDR worse than any season Super ever played in his career. I checked that stat.
Yep.
But you know, somebody's got to be last. The fact that he's bottom on the team means that Mark, the coach, can have a little bit more confidence, maybe play in ways he's not expecting.
You know, he's already dead.
I'm just thinking about it, and you know, he is playing difficult operators. The guy has to play Zofia and Wamai, his main 2 operators this season. It's hard to have those guns. They're super easy. Maybe he's a guy who just needs a challenge.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I mean, there's
success through more challenge. Yeah.
You can only go up from here if you're Anthony.
Look, there is a thing as doing too much work. And if you know that it's not working out, you don't need to keep on putting yourself through that when you have 4 other teammates you're meant to be working with. Like, I don't want to think that's the hole that Beast Coast are finding themselves in, where they don't think that they can make a switch up because, they're keeping the seat warm for Ferdo, so he can just come straight in, assume what Mark is doing, and then everything is all right? I mean, I think you've already kind of identified that you've got some issues that are rolling through this team that are pertinent enough that if you can make a switch, and you don't have Ferda back for a while, and you know you're probably not going to make the major at this point, then this is your experiment ground. You might as well use it if you can.
His coach has 13 kills. He has 7. His coach has almost double his kills. If Ferda can come back, Beast Coast have to legitimately think, do we just keep Mark playing?
You know, I mean, well, Beast Coast is the league punching bag. They've been our punching bag for long enough. Let's move to the other team on the other side of the arena, Parabellum. Not Parabellum, what I'm talking about. It's going to be Astralis over there. That's right. Another red-colored team as far as their logo goes, I suppose. There you go. Astralis getting the win yesterday, and they needed it again because 0-2 first week, a bit rough for a team that took first in both stages so far. Obviously, stage 2 very, very close towards the end, so that was a tighter race than stage 1 was. But it's a team with a lot of expectations on themselves, right? And for good reason. They want to make it back to a major again. They want to rectify what happened in Berlin. Yesterday was the first step towards that, but today they really need to be dominant. I think if you struggle at all against Beast Coast, where Beast Coast is at right now, that's still a problem sign for Astralis.
Yeah, whilst it's not been the best start to the stage ever from Astralis, they have had a pretty tough schedule so far, right? Dark Zero into Mirage into TSM. 3 teams that are all positive in the league right now, either 3-1 or 2-1. And I do think that Astralis have a lot of upsides, even in those games that we're losing. They are currently the most clutch team in the league. Shuttle, the only person in the league right now with more than 1 clutch. He got both of them back in week number 1. Iconic also became the 4th player on that team, or almost became the 4th player on the team to have a clutch as well in that reading round from yesterday, which he just barely didn't catch up on the 1v5 with. So all in all, I think you take a look at Astralis, and whilst the results weren't there, I do still have confidence in this team that they are going to make a bounce back throughout the rest of this week, and they shouldn't feel too bad themselves, even though they've lost a couple of squads that maybe they weren't expecting to at the start of the stage.
It's already pretty good, man.
I'm just kind of wondering how we got a picture of Shuttle in that graphic without his sunglasses on. That's a rare treat right there.
Yeah, you're not kidding. I feel like as far as the TSM game is concerned, that also does seem like a bit of a return to form, even if it's going to take a long time with games like that for their statistics to stabilized to a point where we can start putting guys like Iconic back into the MVP conversation if he starts doing that well. Still very, very highly ranked as far as statistics are concerned. Right now, I don't really know how long it's going to take for them to get back to where they were in stage 1, stage 2 form, but even in stage 2, it still kind of felt like it was a little bit tentative, and I think that same thing persists here. Obviously, DP Fire had an ace, but it felt like in that game yesterday, they're still not back to full-on, full speed, here's how we attack sort of play style. It almost feels like they're still trying to hold themselves back and calculate exactly when they want to get chaotic, because they do thrive in moments like that. Like Jesse mentioned, they're good in the clutch, Shuttle especially, and they were one of the best teams in the clutch when it came to stage 2, but that same kind of thing doesn't seem like it's really made the translation stage to stage, so I'm wondering when we're going to see them really, really wake up. It was good to beat TSM yesterday, but we need more consistency.
There you go. Well, the map vetoes are in, so let's find out where we're going to play for the second map of the day. No clubhouse, no chalet.
Find me a time where Astralis doesn't ban club. The only time they didn't do that was Charlotte Major Grand Finals, and they lost the darn thing. So they're not ever going to want to play this one again, and it's the same relationship for Beastcoast and Chalet. I also think that there are times where if we see Astralis try a bank, it will probably be or it should be in moments like this. Like, you have an opportunity to play something that is outside your map pool a little bit, or if you want to expand it when you know you're going into a situation against a Beast Coast team that is still very hampered. So we could see something a little bit out of their wheelhouse here. Not opting for the theme park. They've already tried that this stage. It didn't go nearly as well as they'd hoped. I think they probably wish they could have won their theme park game by a couple more rounds than they did, but still, I think there's a couple different good options for Astralis here.
How on earth? I mean, a couple. Everything feels like a good option for Astralis. They ended up with 3 maps that they play a ton in this game. Villa, Oregon, and Border all left up on the board. They are very good at Oregon. They're very good at Villa. You know, it's maps that they are super comfortable with. They're not bad at Border either. That might be the ban to come through against Beast Coast. I think for Astralis, you're probably more playing to what you feel comfortable on than your opponents. They do take it out of the way. For Beast Coast, I mean, Oregon and Villa.
Pick your poison, right?
Yeah, it's tough, right? I think for Oregon, you took in a map, and it's like it's something that Astralis are really, really good at until they got to Berlin. So they do have struggles there. Maybe Beast Coast can look back.
I think you want Oregon
games.
if you're Beast Coast, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. Looks like it's finally through.
All right.
I mean, Astralis here on Villa, 8 plays this year and only 2 losses. However, both of those coming kind of recently against Parabellum in Vegas and Elevate in Berlin.
Yeah, as a player, I will say, and obviously Beast Coast had a different roster at that time, that we just didn't want to play Beast Coast on Villa. Villa, to me, like, always kind of ran towards the, you know, you can get away with doing a lot of random stuff on Villa. Beast Coast was a team that thrived off of that. The problem is that's not Beast Coast now.
Yeah.
As we talked about yesterday, simply put, there's no fragging power on Beast Coast. What do you need to contend with a team like Astralis, who want to run and gun the whole map? You need fragging power. I have a hard time seeing them being able to keep up with Astralis here, unfortunately.
It's going to be tough, but we got to make our predictions. Sounds like Super kind of already just made his. We'll check back in a moment. First, let's find out what the casters have to say. Blue and Stokes, yet again. Okay, who wants to go first this time?
I'll take it.
Okay,
Teacher.
go ahead.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I got to agree with Super here. This is not a balanced race. This is like a Ford Focus versus a Ferrari. So I'm going to take Astralis in red, and we're going to quickly kick it on over to John so he can say the same thing.
Pretty extreme example, but yeah, it's
What year Ford Focus?
2006. Very ugly.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Oh no. Yeah, it's going to be the same for me. Beast Coast just really on the struggle bus right now, so I feel like it's going to end up being Astralis at the end of the day, especially considering the map we're going to, where Astralis is going to have a field day with their gunplay.
Well, there you go. 2 for Astralis and no chance of a Ford sponsorship for us anytime soon. Oh well. Ferrari, you got my number. Come on. You know what to do. Analyst, what do you think? Who's going to take it?
Astralis currently on a 4-game win streak against Beast Coast. 2 of those 4 maps coming on Villa, the map we're headed to today as well. A 7-4 win in Stage 3 last year, and then an 8-6 win just last stage. Overtime 8-6, you know, that doesn't look terrible for Beast Coast if they even had the same roster. We got to go for Astralis.
Naturally.
What he said.
All right.
I don't feel like beating a dead horse here. Let's just put it up there and just move on.
You know, everybody's saying Astralis. I'm really thinking, like, maybe Beast Coast, they're coming into this. Anthony, I feel like it's redemption time. I'm going to say Astralis.
All right. Then the fan vote also Astralis as well. Let's flip the coin. Come on, coin. Come on, coin. Hey, it's heads. The coin says Beastcoast.
Very good, very good.
The coin picked Beastcoast yesterday too.
We win these.
Sympathy flip, I guess. I don't know, but in all seriousness, it is difficult to see a team in the position that Beastcoast is in. They just got to try to get that much a little bit better every day, even if you're not going into it necessarily playing to win it. We'll see what they can do. Let's see what our community poll is. It's going to be who will have a higher cost, Surf or Forest?
Who's higher right now?
Well, cost is attributed to like winning usually.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like participation.
So
thing, and
if
also
you
winning
vote
helps.
Surf, you're a bold individual.
You are.
There you go. We'll see how many bold individuals there are out there on social media. Until then, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, the map begins. Beastcoast faces Astralis here on the NAL right after this.
Caught up in my feelings, I got feelings for you. Caught up in my feelings, I got feelings for you. On my mind, I can't lie. On my mind, I can't lie. Pull you down till you dry. Pull you down till you dry. All the time, ease my mind. All the time, ease my mind. I know that you're dangerous, I'm addicted to you. I might rent the Lambo and go drive it like it's stolen. I've been living wild, I'm just going through the motions. Stumbling out the Uber, grab my hand, gave me the notion. Swimming in your water, but it feels just like the ocean. I can't lie, I've really been addicted to you. All of my attention I've been giving to you. Caught up in my feelings, I got feelings for you. Caught up in my feelings, I got feelings for you. On my mind, I can't lie. On my mind, I can't lie. Pull you down till you dry. Pull you down till you dry. All the time, ease my mind. All the time, ease my mind. I know that you're dangerous, I'm addicted to you. I was sipping more for 2 years straight to the face. Champagne belly bubble still won't go away. Last year my best man hit a stain with bad face. Now he's got a hell behind the water's cold case. I wake up with pain sometime and never go away. Wonder why I bow to my knees when I pray. In my city gritty, gotta keep it on your waist. Or you might be a victim, they'll find you DOA. I can't lie, I've really been addicted to you. All of my attention I've been giving to you. Caught up in my feelings, I got feelings for you. Caught up in my feelings.
Welcome back once again, ladies and gentlemen. It's time to get ready for our second matchup of the day. Beastcoast still looking to get that winning chip onto their record here, but they're going to have a tough challenge on the other side in the form of Astralis, of course, who has been on fire so far throughout Stage 3.
Yes, indeed. Astralis starting to light things up finally. Here was kind of a rocky start initially, but week 2 has been a saving grace for them, at least for the first day. They still have to get past Beastcoast, which at the current moment look to be the bottom of the dog pile here in North America, but obviously that could switch up as well. The first week they were only able to muster 3 rounds, but they eclipsed that yesterday in just 1 game up against Dark Zero on Clubhouse, able to get 4 put together. So we'll see if they can try and continue this streak of, well, building this team up to actually be something, as we'll be heading into Villa pretty shortly. Excited to see what Astralis can do on this map. It's been a little while since we got to see him play.
Villa's going to be interesting to see how it gets played out, just because of the kind of open-ended nature of it and the open-ended nature of how these teams have currently been playing as well. But it is time to go into it regardless. Let's get to it, ladies and gentlemen, our second matchup of the day. Going live now between Beastcoast and Astralis. Beastcoast starts on the attacking side. Astralis starts on the defense. Meaning that Astralis is going to get the first and final ban coming up here in just a second. Beastcoast will get our 2 center bans. There they are on the screen now. Astralis with our first ban. Interesting one is they're going to knock out Yana.
Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Very smart ban here, thinking on that big brain level here for Villa. Yana not only amazing to try and clear out a lot of these rooms and stuff like that, get you a solid info game going on the offense, but also fantastic at clearing out laser gates from Aruni. So we're more than likely going to see Astralis leaning into that, forcing Beastcoast to give up utility rather than a clone that just comes back in a handful of seconds. Nick also going to be a pretty obvious ban for the offense. She's pretty sneaky, and Villa happens to be the map that you can be the sneakiest. Lots of areas areas to work your way in, unbeknownst to the defense. And speaking of defense, we've got those bans on the docket as well. It's going to be Azami and Valkyrie. And, well, if you've been playing Siege at all, you know exactly why those fall in. Get rid of those cameras, get rid of those kunai knives. It can make some extra, cover to play around. And now we got ourselves a ball game. We're going to have Beastcoast on offense, Astralis on defense, and we're going to be starting things in really the only place that you can start Villa, in my mind, AVG.
Yep, we have been seeing teams shift over towards the trophy start from time to time as well, but between the two sites, it's still very much the go-to inside of the North American region, so that's going to be where we start things out here as usual. Shotgun's going to be popping off as there's a lot of reconstruction to be done for Astralis here to open up pathways. They're also going to be opening up some top-down angles too to try and avoid the early clear from Beastcoast to be going down into areas like Art Studio there, giving them angles to play back into that, and potentially some late-round flanks to play from below as well. We sometimes rarely will see that pop up there in a clutch scenario if it's needed for the defense to potentially be able to use that. In terms of operator picks, though, really not much that's going to be surprising us here when it comes to the defensive side of things. Iconic, of course, adding the mirror in will give that very annoying angle to the defense here that Beastcoast will have to contend against. And aside from that, it's either going to be intel or utility mitigation, or just, of course, a good old slowdown from DP fire on the smoke.
Yeah, a lot more going on this mid-floor than we usually see around, things like Art Studio and other areas. Obviously, we are used to seeing an extension here over towards the trophy statuary side, as a lot of teams really like starting things off inside of Master, but there's the final piece of the puzzle there. The other mirror is going to go downstairs inside of Piano and make the clear across the map really difficult for BC. Astralis is going to get ahead of them early on here. That's positioning of Shuttle as of right now. He's got J90 in tow to be able to assist with this, but if Beastcoast try and go completely around this, circumnavigate, move their way towards the other end of the map, they still have to deal with Iconic setup down low. If they don't get him out, then he can just play inside of Art Studio and try and be a nuisance through those angles we saw them set up earlier. So Astralis, so much going on here that Beastcoast is going to have to try and get a little bit of info on, try and keep track of here going into these next 2 minutes.
Shuttle waiting to see if there's going to be a play opportunity showing up here in Master at any point. Either way, great time wasting coming out so far from the Astralis side of things. Beastcoast will put out, I believe it's going to be their first E1D, and indeed that will be the case to try and suss out the intel from players like Shuttle and a few of the others messing around here closer to Statuary, but none of that really going to be given out, unfortunately, as there's not any pressure to counteract it. Drones will sneak in from the roof, and eventually Forest will come dashing up through those Astro stairs, surprising Xeno and taking him down outright, removing the sledge from play as well. Not a make or break for this round specifically, but they'll have to watch out for that in a later round, as they'll be wanting to keep him alive, obviously, for the top-down openings.
Yeah, now Forest can just play downstairs and be annoying. He can go for a flank again against BC. He can rotate across and come up red because Astralis have that entire setup inside of Piano to occupy the hallway. I mean, this is going swimmingly right now for Astralis. The timer is the big differential here for Beastcoast. 1 minute and 10 seconds remaining, and they're stuck on the north side of the map. They haven't even made a forward push for bench just yet. They're stuck back in these 2 rooms, and not only that, but Shuttle has this cut here. And again, just a reminder, this is going to be really easy for him to hold on to, given the fact of Iconic's positioning.
Time going to continue to tick down here, and Beastcoast still going to be worse for wear in terms of figuring out what exactly they want to try and lean their strategy towards here. They have been able to finally take control of the upstairs partition of the statuary area of the map, and DP Fire will actually be caught out by Anthony, so not the end of the world just yet here for Beastcoast. It's been a struggle, to say the least, to get themselves set up for this late round play, but there might still be a little bit of something to cook out here. We also have seen the fallback of that other extended player deeper into kitchen from Astralis. They're going to more than likely be able to wrap their way up through main stairs and support the actual hold. Iconic very much could be make or break here as well with that Nitro cell to stun out the rest of the push coming back in through Death's Door. In a second, Forest will also take out another player attempting to work their way in. Entry attempt is going through. Here's Iconic's time to shine with that Nitro, and it'll work out well to deny the plant. Still, of course, seeing a successful entry kill be made by the players on Beastcoast, and now another one picked up also here. Down to just 2 alive for Astralis as that final plant being put down onto the ground, and Slash will successfully be able to lock it in. Smoke will block out any immediate play potential from Iconic, and now Forest, he'll move forward, knock out one with the shotgun, get a second one on top of that for a quad on the round as Astralis takes swift control of the first round overall.
Astralis playing their setup to a T. I especially love Forest patience in sight, allowing Iconic to get his task done down low. They had that prevention. They were willing to play it down to that timer, and it works out so very well for them, especially with Iconic quickly rotating up red. A huge distraction, especially with an operator like Mira. One speeds are just very, very loud whenever they sprint around the map, so everyone is immediately focused on his location. That frees things up, allowing Forest to continue on that dominant path and take down the last two members of BC. So what a round from Astralis across the board. I mean, whatever way you want to look at it, from frags, from strategy, it was all just extremely stellar.
Very much the case. Beastcoast just kind of trudging along, hoping they would be able to make things work in their push, coming from the statuary side and then eventually working their way through Death's Door into the site. Unfortunately, not a good plan ultimately, as Astralis had counters for it set up and then some. Right from the Nitro cell that Iconic was prepping down below to the right shotgun play from Forest, and even his own aggressive extensions out from the interior partition of the site. Nicely played by him to pick up a quad in the very first round. Let's wait and see what else he's able to do over the course of this matchup. Astralis, of course, will move along to the next expected site here. We are going to have a mirror window along with a small amount of utility. You can see an ADS, probably one or two other things positioned here inside of AVG as well. Once again, since the extension wasted a lot of time in the last round, they'll commit a bit more utility to it this time too, in hopes of accomplishing the same thing should Beastcoast try to clear things out from the south side.
Yeah, not the exact same strategies we've seen Astralis use on Villa before, but same general game plan, trying to hold map control, force the offense to take it away from you, and they are either exchanging that out for utility or time, or in some instances both, if they're going about things in a lackadaisical manner, which is kind of what we saw from BC the last time, but this time they're hopping to not even 40 seconds off the clock, and Anthony, of all people, has the opening kill. John, that's his first opener of the entire stage.
Nicely done from him. Either way, it'll be a nice cross here to be able to catch Shuttle. A bit of an unorthodox position, so we'll cut him off mid-transition, heading into Tarps there. Give Beastcoast, of course, that opening advantage to play into as well from a 5v4. But the rest of the players on Beastcoast still need to get themselves the interior access. Fire going to come through. Thankfully, it's heading towards the ceiling to take out the camera up above, so Forest will not become a victim of that. Just due to poor timing, he'll be able to fall back deeper into the master bath, where he's going to actually camp out here. Wait to see if there's going to be any play potential for himself. Look at the window for a second there, but definitely not wanting to take a risk on that. That is almost certainty of a trade, even if you get that opening kill. So he'll head down the stairs instead and wait to see what's next for Beastcoast.
Zeno with the position of the Sentry right now, actually inside of the red stairwell here. Astralis still really focused on this top clear by BC, but Zeno could slip through the cracks and start dealing some serious damage to this site setup. Fortunately enough, Astralis, they've got their eyes dead set on a lot of these entry points. J9O will go down to Zeno as he simply rotates in. He'll get gunned down by Iconic, and now DP fire. He's going to try and rotate up red. Mark will take down Forest, but where's Iconic at? He's actually upstairs as well. So now the site completely open, but Beastcoast might not be aware of this as the two remaining Astralis members try and get things done from upstairs.
Should overall have a good amount of control here as they move themselves forward, but there is still some delay to be thrown out by the defense, such as Iconic right here with the cross from the inside of Statuary. Takes out the first player attempting to move into Master Bedroom. They fall down to that, and he'll be able to peel away after that, too. I was expecting a pretty quick reaction to come in from the other three members of Beastcoast, but they've been slow to follow things through. So he'll be allowed to get a second Toxic Babe off. Has the cross established once again for the breach that's been made over in Master. Anthony paying attention to that doorway closer to Statuary as well, just to make sure that Iconic isn't trying to make some sort of last-second play here to get an aggro onto these three remaining players. And once again, Beastcoast, their second guessing is getting the better of themselves here, wasting a lot of time that they could use to get themselves closer to the plan. Iconic now ready to make a move forward, but the timing is paid out much more promisingly for Beastcoast on that secondary push to the inside as they catch both of the remaining members of Astralis unaware as to where they're even being shot from.
Great round, specifically from Anthony as well, getting the opener as well as that entry kill there onto Iconic, who was trying to play the timing for the swing on the master door. Great stuff from BC, making sure to use their advantage to its maximum potential. Astralis, a lot going on there, some very solid decisions, but I'd say, a lot of what we saw with the initial aggression, Beastcoast was really able to get a hamper on, especially for Zeno and his positioning around red. red stairs. I think that really caught Astralis off guard, and honestly, me as well, with Astralis' just body language. I was honestly assuming that we were in kitchen until we teleported upstairs. Like, oh, the bomb chassis are in here. That's a little awkward, isn't it? So yeah, but either way, you know, very well done from Beastcoast there, especially with the understanding that Astralis more than likely looking for some aggressive plays to try and pull on them early and securing those kills because of it.
Right, so Beastcoast looking to try and make their mark here on the attacking side by netting themselves a second round. Did a good job of isolating out the presence for Astralis in the downstairs partition of the map. Kind of on a one-by-one basis there to be able to allow them to take control of things that they then swung that advantage, of course, from the 4v2 into the rest of the site. Things got a little bit dicey in that 4v2 clear, but still able to ultimately take it without too much of an issue at the end of the day. Leaves them tied now at 1-1 with Astralis looking to make up the difference now with another very spread out opener to round 3. They're going to be trying to see what they can pick off early from Beastcoast. Beastcoast, as usual, taking a nice slow route to this clear, wanting to play heavily into the intel, so we shouldn't expect anything crazy to come from them for the first minute or two at a minimum.
I love the game plan from Astralis here. They see that Beastcoast is trying to play this down to the maximum that the timer will allow. So what are they going to do, John? Well, they're going to get in the way of that. They're going to put some Banshees down, some Goo Mines, maybe some EED, or I almost said EE1Ds. You got to love that you have EDDs and EE1Ds in the same game. So, but either way, Capcan and his EDDs placed around to, again, just put an obstacle in front of Beastcoast, make them second guess some of these entries or potentially lose half their health. And past that, they have all that info being worked in by J90 as well with the Pulse. Force is actually going to be able to take down Slash, or still barrel his way into Tarps, but that's the only person home, at least in the building for now, for BC. The rest of this moment, well, it's mostly focused on the top floors. Anthony is actually across the entire building. He just entered in through study as he starts working his way in towards 90.
Anthony's going to proceed over towards the back hallway here and attempt to continue clearing things out, but anything that would have been able to be cleared is already long gone for Astralis, so just checking the doorways to make sure there's no EDD surprises waiting for him as he continues to clear things out closer to Astro. Meanwhile, on the defensive side, you can see J90 just keeping an eye out on the side of the building, closer towards Laundry side, I do believe, waiting to see if there's going to be any play potential lined up for Beastcoast to try to make a swing towards the Laundry entrance, get themselves in. Does not look like that's necessarily the case, although we do have Mark sitting on the outside of it. This could be something they're going to lean towards later on in the round here. Actually, just correct myself, Mark's sitting outside of Mudroom right now.
BC and get control of the top floor, but as we said, this is where these traps and their potential for the round skyrockets, practically worth their weight in gold. Longer and longer we await Beastcoast. Lots of angles on this top floor now for them to try and abuse, but Astralis not giving them a single look. Surf going to try and work his way in. Walks in, actually gets all the way up onto Tetris. I think he's even surprised that he's made it this far without a single person trying to take him out. Anthony will take down J90. Surf calming this to this team. He'll get Mark inside. There's still 4 people alive, by the way, on the defense. Shuttle will go down. No one's working their way back in from Pantry. They're done and dusted. It's all left up to Forrest, the man that got the opening kill of the round, but now he's on the receiving end of Beastcoast. Beastcoast, some nice swings. It'll be Mark to deal the death blow, and BC take the lead over Astralis.
Astralis is playing way too heavily into their roam game right there, trying to hold back the tides, when in reality, never really having the defense properly set up in the site to begin with, allowing Beastcoast just flood their way in those final 30 to 40 seconds, take an easy setup and a very quick post-plan establishment as well. Props to Beastcoast for that. They haven't looked the best when it comes to these roam clears, but when they get themselves into the site, they were very snappy to set themselves up and deny any sort of retake opportunity from Astralis. So great stuff there. Be able to now take the lead, as Stokes mentioned, over them at 2-1 and trigger, once again, a very early tack timeout coming in from Astralis here.
Yeah, and you know, I think this is well-deserved as well. Callout doesn't want to allow this to get too far gone before using the tack timeout, so you might as well get in here, try and right some wrongs early on, see if maybe you can help Astralis with this defensive side. I mean, they still have the means to be able to go 4-2 on this half, which would be quite dominant if they were able to string along 3 rounds. rounds, and Astralis are no slouch when it comes to their ability to adapt on the fly. That's usually what this team's game plan is. A very friendly squad, all really, really good friends, and usually just trying to make the most out of a situation, and that's really what you want with a team. If you're malleable in a way like that, then nothing can really go wrong, even when it is, right? Even when you're down scores like they are right now, they're still cool, calm, and collected, and willing to try and get this job done. So past that, Astralis will be launched back into the game here for round 4. We're back to an Aviator defense, and that means that Iconic will be back downstairs inside of Piano.
All right, well, Astralis looking to try and quickly course correct now on their second go of sights. They've been able to complete that first wrap. Only locking in the initial round on AVG for themselves. Otherwise, it all goes over to Beastcoast. We do have Anthony going over towards an Ash pick for the first round here.
Super's really lucky, you know. If he was still in the league, Anthony be coming for his job.
So he's going to hop onto that. We'll see what that potentially gives us. Aside from that, though, it is going to be, once again, your usual clear utility here to be able to get access to AVG. The Ying is going to be the big wrinkle that comes in as a new element for Beastcoast for the second attempt here, trying to give them that extra boom to get them into the actual site. And this is actually a pretty good adjustment here because Beastcoast eventually did make it to the site entry, but failed outright to work their way past that point. So this should hopefully alleviate that concern in a pretty simple way and make things a bit smoother. But they still have to get through the early round as well, and that's been another point of pain for Beastcoast so far.
Yeah, all thanks to a man with an obsession with one-way mirrors and a love for classical music as he sits in Piano. But Astralis, yeah, a fantastic round the first time that they're able to kind of pull the wool over the eyes of Beastcoast and force them into that top clear, not really paying Iconic any mind, and that was the big issue. They got Nitro celled, and then a nice flank from him allows Forrest to get the flank off through Gunvault and catch both of the remaining BC members. Shuttle actually going to start trying to get a little aggressive. Mark's going to punch a window and immediately be met with cannon fodder, but none of it going to be lethal. Just a few bullets into the chest. Never hurt anybody, right? That's how that works. Surf is actually going to be the first one to go down. Lots of Candelas out for Slash, but no kills just yet. R4C in hand. Anthony swings into Shuttle. He'll take him out, and that's going to be the second EE1D as well for Mark.
Good adjustment from Anthony there, once again being the hero for Beastcoast inside of not only this round, but the previous ones that have been played out also. Iconic now taking a position on the red stairs. He'll wait for his next frag opportunity. Will very well have that coming his way soon. Slash, a little bit cautious of what could be hiding out in tarp, so he's going to chuck out one of the Candelas just to alleviate his concerns here. Only saving one now for the site execute, but in reality, that's all that should be needed at the end of the day. So we'll wait and see if he's going to get the opportunity to actually throw that one. He will have to work past Iconic just to get to that point. Never mind, you DP Fire is also positioned at the very end of 90, and the two players upstairs. That will probably be their primary concern before they worry too much about Iconic sitting lower down on the staircase.
Yeah, this round is still on a knife's edge here. These next engagements are really going to be the deciders. Slash starting it off strong for the offense, which means that the defense has to come back. DP Fire is going to go down. Beastcoast, there's no way that this is lining up to be a BC-dominated offense, as Iconic will be able to at least pick up a downed Anthony. Still 3-2 in favor of BC. Iconic trying to hold things down on red. He has that Banshee in tow, but he's got two people at the top of the stairwell. It could dawn his location at a moment's notice. Believe that might be a frag grenade. A little worried there. Doesn't seem like anything's actually going to end up going off, so could have been a little piece of a different utility at the end of the day. It doesn't really matter. Not going to be lethal to either Iconic or that Banshee. They know he's there as well. The pings keep coming out. Slash will take down J9, and Mark will end Iconic. The timeout does nothing. BC up 3-1.
Astralis once again out and about all over the place across the map, and that is to some extent what Villa demands of a team as well here, but Astralis playing into that a little bit too heavily and leaving those constant opportunities open for Beastcoast to knock them out. They've been doing so for the past 2 rounds at a minimum here, giving them a massive lead over Astralis, one that I don't think anyone really expected to see here. If not 3 in a row. In fact, yeah, I think it is 3 in a row now from Beastcoast as we're going to continue the run from Astralis. They'll move over to Trophy and Statuary for the upcoming round 5. But again, things went awry on the last hold here as well. So how are they going to make up the difference quickly enough as well as Beastcoast is just on a warpath now? We could very easily end up at 5-1 with the way this game's going.
Yeah, we saw Astralis for their last defense here have a lot of bodies down in the mid floor trying to play around kitchen, Red Hall, library, just that kind of area. And, you know, try and make sure that Beastcoast couldn't try and get control over that mid floor. But the big problem is that they forgot about the basement. Zeno just sneaks up through, assists his team in getting some big openers, and that's past that initial kill that we saw out of Anthony, which, by the way, has the most kills in the lobby, at least for Beast Coast. Forrest currently sitting at 7 and 3, but his team overall looking like a shell of their former selves. DP Fire all the way through J90, currently sitting on a big old goose egg with, well, 12 deaths in between them. That's not exactly what you expect out of this squad.
All right, well, let's see here now. As the round continues to get deeper into it, we've got Beastcoast starting to line up with their first entry points. Probably going to be some time, of course, before they actually take a risk on it. We've got a few risky positions still out for Astralis. Iconic specifically sitting over here in the walk-in closet corner. He's going to take the gamble on this position. Shuttle, really the lone holder for the actual interior of the site. He's got kind of Iconic and one other member holding the wings for him, but if Beastcoast try to directly pressure to the inside of it, things will get hot pretty quickly here. We're going to see a rotate from that interior site player to try to assist Iconic a little bit. He has been spotted out by a drone now, so his time is going to be limited.
And honestly, I'm scared for Dave here because there's a lot that can go wrong in this position. Yeah, he has ADSs, but they have a Lion and they also have an Ace, so they're going to be able to make a lot more angles for him. They'll probably just end up burning these out and potentially nading him. Hopefully he can at least get one. He'll be able to swing out and actually find himself some space. Iconic able to get past Mark. E1D out, won't be able to lock him down as he'll get out of the clutches of the Lion.
Anthony ready to move forward here, but still needs to line up the rest of these Ash charges. Still going to see a Goyo can alive and well on the inside of Master Bedroom, excuse me, as well. So that will continue to be a problem for this squad. You can see one more still positioned for Iconic just on the outside of those doorways. Slash takes some heat, doesn't know exactly where it's come from, though. Will be able to realize onto that, and again, the members of Astralis will continue to give him the challenge as well. Only able to go 1 for 1 this time because there's a pinch set out against him, but still surprising he was able to get away with that one alone. As things are brought down to a 4v4 now, they've calmed down a little bit. Anthony finally making his entry into the walk-in, trying to move forward, but there's just way too many angles that have been opened up by Astralis. They've turned this into a shooting gallery, and Beast Coast doesn't know the way to the high score just yet. J90 nearly gets that swing and a hit, but it's a nade from the other side that'll take him down instead, as Beast Coast are still making this work.
Very well done. Sledge caught completely off guard by Forrest, but Anthony, he's taken out J90. Oh my, Beast Coast looking to take another round away from Astralis, but no drones. Doesn't seem like it's gonna really affect Mark or Surf, as they're gonna be able to take down 2 members of AST. Now it's all down to Forrest, the man with the most kills in the lobby. He's got Astralis in a duffel bag right now in the kill department, and he's gotta do it 2 more times. Make it 1 more time for Forrest. It's a triple kill on the round. It's up to Surf to try and bring this back. He's sprinting, he's diving, he doesn't have case control, but now he knows where the last man is. Forrest tries to pre-fire BC. What is happening right now in Italy?
Things just continue to get worse and worse for Astralis as well, trying to play around each other, but that support just not seeing it happen. When the fights are actually thrusted upon them, it just seems like all the members of Astralis are on their own, off on an island, and that's leading to far too many deaths early in the round and way too successful of an assault time after time again from BC.
So I know I said that this was Ford versus Ferrari, but I didn't realize that Beast Coast had a sleeper. And not only is it a sleeper, but it's also just so happens to be a GT40. Like, they're just racing past Astralis right now, man. This is incredible stuff. I can definitely tell you that there is not a single person in this building that assumed that this was going to happen. Beast Coast have looked like a shell of a team, not even their former selves, just a team for the entirety of Stage 3. And just this week alone, they've had a complete 180 from where they started. It's truly amazing what they've been able to do in the last 2 weeks.
Definitely the case. Excellently played from Beast Coast so far here, latching on to the problems that Astralis have been showing inside of this matchup and abusing them at every single turn here. Astralis has just not been able to cover their butts as of yet. That's leading to a heck of a lot of problems here. At least a 4-2 can still be stabilized on this final round, but they're going to need to lock it in, and we're still seeing notes of the same strategy being deployed here. So the very same problems that they were dealing with in the past 5 rounds are going to continue to pop back up here. Players not necessarily in the best positions to support each other. That's going to leave plenty of room open for Beast Coast to isolate them out one by one and take them down. Astralis need to avoid that at all costs here and keep their full team alive as close to the end of the round as possible. They're just losing far too many players at the moment.
If this ends up being being a 5-1 in favor of Beastcoast, Astralis needs to take a really hard look in the mirror and think about this Yana ban, because it hasn't slowed down Beastcoast at all. And not only that, but we're not seeing anything where, you know, really having Yana in play would have been the biggest deal ever for Beastcoast. The biggest problem right now for Astralis is Lion. Lion is getting in the way of everything for them. They can't rotate how they want to. They can't take fights how they want to. It's basically just making them a stick in the mud whenever they click that button. They're not allowed to do very much, and Beastcoast are exploiting that to its maximum potential. So for Astralis, see if they can try and get round 6 here and at least mitigate the damage as much as possible.
Play coming in from Slash. He's taking no prisoners here. That's what we needed to see, though. That's what we've been lacking in previous rounds, is that snapshot trade from Astralis. It doesn't seem to matter, though, yeah. As Stokes was mentioning, Surf able to work his way forward, trade out the trade that was found for the defense. Forrest trying to make up the difference again, though, as he finds Anthony trying to work his way in. Started from mud and tried to move forward past that, but Forrest able to shut things down. At least we'll be able to control the other half of the building across the way from the site in living room, distracting players like Zeno now and making them focus on that and not this site take.
Well, a 3v3 here, but the site in favor of Beastcoast. Selma's out. Surf has got Case. He should start plant here very soon. There it goes. Mark will be occupying the crosses here for Kitchen as well as China. What a shot from DP Fire. The timing working out so very well. A nice move from him. He'll take out the second one. Astralis, they might get through this round, even though BC had such an amazing start to it. Astralis, they fight back from outside of the site to at least pick up 2 rounds on their defense.
Finally making that adjustment that we needed to see for quite a few rounds. They're going to be able to bring things back under their own control finally. As you said, a second round up on the board, but now it's still put them in a bit of a dire position going into the second half, as their opponents only need the remaining quarter, or a remaining quarter of the game to be able to close things out here. 3 rounds are all that BC need, and there's still 2 to go for the Astralis players just to be able to tie things up. Moving on to the attacking side, shouldn't have those formation issues any longer, shouldn't have much of a problem playing together as a team, but at the same time, we'll have to wait and see what Beastcoast has cooked up on the defense. We've seen some massive improvements in the attacking side, and I would reckon we're going to get a little bit of that on the defense as well.
What in the Fragger lineup is Astralis running right now? We have Ace, Sledge, Zoe, Ash, and
might be a
Twitch.
quick one.
This is like, if you guys have ever seen a champ lobby in your life, this is exactly what it looks like.
Oh,
and then Forrest is going to go to Blitz. No, yep, this is definitely
it's going to be a quick one.
Yeah,
this is going to be a quick.
Well, we're doing some crazy stuff here, and I'm totally about it. Just as a reminder, Forrest not only has the most kills in the lobby, he's the only one at double digits by a large margin.
You're going to put him on the shield.
Is Anthony with 6 kills. This man's currently 12-4, and he's on Blitz.
So let's see how this strategy works out for Astralis.
I love it.
We've got DP Fire 2-5, Shuttle at 0-6, J9 at 1-6, and finally Iconic as well, a little bit closer to Forrest there at 4-4 as well. So going to try and put all the effort onto Forrest here to try to make their way forward. It's not going to be as fast as we initially thought we would be seeing here. I was expecting something crazy from these guys, but a little difficult to achieve both on Villa overall and for the site that we're playing into. So do need to cook this one up a little bit more, apparently, for Astralis, as they're going to be trying to drone their way over here towards 9. You can see, though, that Forrest is very much lined up, and there's no way he's going to go for, like, foot shots here, right? Like,
oh, of course. This drone hole, John, this drone hole is iconic, and I'm not making a pun. I'm really not. Like, the amount of dumb things that has happened to me or I have done to people through this drone hole, it's too much. Honestly, it's way too much. Yeah, I've been naded through that drone hole. That's why you put a disc. Like, I'm just telling you, like, Siege players know no bounds, man. If there's some way that they can potentially kill you, it's gonna happen. Like, oh my. Forrest, are we going for it, my friend?
Smoked it.
Yeah, smoked off. Looks like they're gonna do a lot more than smoke it. Nitro Cell out, he's gonna rush through, bull-headed. He's not gonna take any damage. He will find himself a Slash that has no idea a Blitz is working their way into his location. DP Fire will pick up one as well. BC on the worst end of this thing, as it's currently a 4-3 man count in favor of Astralis.
Forrest unfortunately stuck now as he made this play pretty much solo, and he's going to need to have his teammates rotate over to be able to support him a lot better. Despite the solo play, he got another kill, though, and so did J9O. DP Fire just with a quick peek to finish this off as Astralis close out that round in one of the most fantastic ways I've ever seen.
I mean, who would have guessed that if you had, like, a really mechanically gifted lineup, John, like, everybody on the team was a gunner, right?
It was just like...
And then you gave them all really good guns and a Blitz shield.
I'm just more curious, like, what was the overarching strategy for that round as well? Because it was just like, yeah, everybody was like, there was like 2 groups of 2 and then the shield. Well, and they were just like kind of doing their own thing.
There's no like there's the way you need to think
didn't
about
really
Siege,
connect together that well.
Yeah, but the way you got to think
But it
about
works.
the Siege round in general is like you have the start and you have the end. The middle, it's gonna be what it is, right? So their main strategy was we're gonna take like top control and try and get some picks on these players up top with blitz, try and work them into 90. But it just so happened that Astralis killed literally everybody, and they're like, all right, well I guess we just walk at the site, like hey, screw it, why not? There's 3 people dead now. We might as well go try and find the last 2. I think that's a much better way of doing things, keeping that pace, make it to where Beastcoast stays discombobulated instead of immediately slowing things down to a grinding halt and being like, okay, let's sit here and drone for a minute and a half and see if we can find these last 2 players. We have a blitz, we have so many guns and players that can play off of each other, and probably a decent amount of info even on top of that, past what you've already cleared and everything. So I think that it was just more of a means to an end for Astralis than it was an overarching strategy. They're like, oh, well, if the earlier game goes well, we'll just try and snowball it. Past that, though, Beastcoast will maintain the lead walking into round 8, but this is the opportunity for Astralis to tie things up, and they've definitely got that in mind. They're going to be switching things up for DP Fire. He's now over to the Logic Bombs on Dokkaebi.
All right, so Astralis with another opportunity to surprise us here with their excellent strategy. We'll see as things will probably return to a more normal chain of events this time, just given the operator lineup and the way that they're currently playing things out. That doesn't mean they're not going to do it quickly, though, as I know we saw already one player hopping back in. As it is going to be him, but it's just going to be from another perspective, as it'll end up being the Thorn Trap that'll end up taking down Shuttle here, so he'll get knocked out by that. Jane, I know, like we were talking about before, the very quick play being made by him to clear things out over here towards Trophy and Statuary. He's already been able to clear out the Trophy side. Statuary should be, by default, cleared out as well, since they have a pinch on it. So it's just about moving past this now and getting themselves over towards AVG.
Kind of going to hop outside. Not actually going to get rid of the Banshee, funny enough. Don't exactly know why he didn't do that. It was just as simple as shooting
more
thing.
Important things to do.
Bigger things on Batman's list. There's a lot of crime in the cities of Italy. Anthony, me holding things down in sight, as with the rest of Beastcoast. Not too much going on just yet, as Astralis needs to open up a couple of different areas, including the gun vault that they're looking to do right now. J9O, one impact in, the second one in, but you know what the problem is? There's a mute jammer probably on the other end of the wall that's holding things up rather than being directly there. Oh no, it really is there. I think that the actual, the case, the suitcase, probably blocked the splash and didn't get the mute jammer. That's so unfortunate for Astralis. My God, Surf. He's trying to put him 1 foot in the grave.
They're blind now.
Beastcoast double down. DP Fire will finally get something back into the offensive favor, but it's definitely not the round just yet.
Astralis caught with their pants down on both of those peaks there. Did not have the intel for either of those players, or at very minimum, we're not expecting a push at that timing. Zeno will bring it down to 1 for Astralis as he's able to knock down DP Fire. So J9O sits alone. He's able to move himself to the interior of the site at a minimum here, but Zeno, I think he was like just after a reload there or something too. I saw the animation, right? He's able to close it down.
It was mid-reload animation.
Mid-reload animation, cancels it, shuts him down. Very well played by Zeno and the rest of BC to quickly rebound after that chaotic first round of the half. Take back their control now, which should be 5-3.
Okay, well, Beastcoast. I'm truthfully astounded that we're at this point. I thought that we'd at least have somewhat of a good game on our hands. I was thinking like a 7-3, 7-4 in favor of Astralis. But this has completely turned around my expectations for Beastcoast, at least for the near future. Either that or Astralis are just not looking that good. But honestly, I think Beastcoast are just making some very solid decisions. Astralis are also overplaying their hand a little bit in certain situations, which are allowing quite a few of these kills to come through. But the big thing is that it's like Astralis has been kneecapped when it comes to their frag potential. J9O 2-7, Shuttle 0-8. DP Fires came back in a certain sense, right? 5-6. But then you look down at Iconic, one of the biggest names on this entire list, and he's only 4-5. It's really just Forrest that has, that entire gold pile that he's sitting on here at 14 kills. And really that's only happening because there's so many bodies around to still frag on. Nobody else is really getting kills right now for Astralis, so Forrest has to do so much just to make sure that they can get these rounds.
Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of it ends up just being stat padding at the end of the day as it close out the round itself. Won't contribute to
almost a 3.0 KDA right now.
Yep, I'm very curious to see what the stats for cost want to look like for him at the end of this game as well. Just
100% in every category.
Yeah, would still probably end up being pretty good. But yeah, we've got a lot of these rounds where he's picking up plenty of frags, but unfortunately they're frags in the dead of the round when he's already in a 1vx, so not contributing a whole lot to the end of it. See slow play here from Astralis as they're going to take a bit more of a cautious note. They've been noticing, of course, obviously them proceeding onwards without the highest amount of caution has led to quite a few slippery situations where it's ended up getting away from them. So I think they're going to try and make extra short of themselves before proceeding forward this time. That will be a bit of a tectonic shift as far as Beastcoast is concerned. So they're going to have to adjust for this as well, but obviously won't have to worry about that for some time.
It's been a little while since we got to see this gun, hasn't it, John? The TCSG in the hands of Zeno. As the suppressor's got a little bit of a change, it's that single attachment for that, and also as the 2x, as the AUG doesn't have a 1.5 anymore. But some actions happened whilst we were discussing. DP Fire goes down. He does get his Selma charge off, though, so they'll at least open up part of the triple wall here for Master. Force EMP takes out a majority of the equipment, but just to remind you, it doesn't destroy things any longer like it did a handful of years ago. It just disables it for some time and allows Astralis to either shoot it or do whatever they need to do in order to actually get it destroyed. A Nitro Cell will be out on this single panel here, seeing if Astralis wants to rotate in through Bookshelf. Forrest will take down Slash. That was the Alda-wielding player at the back of the site, but Astralis not wanting to push ahead just yet, so very scared of the potential of how this could end.
Big play coming in now from Astralis. They move their way forward, but have not been able to account for Zeno deeper into the site itself. He can only go for one, though, as Iconic trades him back, leaving us into a 3v2. And mind you, this is the off-site play. Surf now able to activate from the actual site itself, but again, Iconic making up the difference. He trades it out 1-for-1. Anthony left alone. He's not been able to account for the player deeper onto the inside. Still is able to find out at least the first. No, won't get that confirmation. Iconic again will make up the difference as he saves the day here. Really comes alive for the first time in this round to make up the difference and lock in a very important round for his team.
Nicely done. Good patience from Astralis, especially on the clear over on the AVG side. Had to respect the Nitro Cell there on the soft paneling. Did not want to try and swing for that door, and you really can't blame them. I'd be pretty antsy in that situation as well. But not only that, they found another way to quickly dispatch most of Beastcoast in that area, which was that shift over to study, barrel themselves through the wall, into planes, and then try and take those fights, and get that done, and then they're able to energize themselves, put that battery in their back, and push themselves towards sight, getting themselves within one of Beast Coast, and really looking to tie things up here. They do not want to allow BC onto map point.
Definitely not a game you want your opponents to get away with as well here, given the kind of rockier standings you can see for Astralis. They're sitting at number 7 currently in the standings here. A 1-3 record will certainly leave them in a bit of a delicate position with regards to trying to qualify for the major here. And given Beast Coast's prior performance, this is one that they would expect to take outright here, but are struggling quite a bit. Even ending up in overtime might be seen as a bit of an L here for Astralis, just in the fact that they would have definitely wanted the full 3 points from this one. And if Beast Coast is even able to steal one of those away, definitely not going to be a happy day in the post-game talks for the Astralis roster. But Beast Coast, I think they've got a lot to be happy about from this game, regardless of the outcome from this point forward. But if they can give us the full set and back themselves right up to 7, it'll make the day a heck of a lot better.
Yes, indeed. Astralis looking to string together as many rounds as they can muster at the current moment. I'm really hoping that they can get this done in regulation. They want to lose as minimal points as possible. The big thing right now for them is going to be the clearing of these roamers, or at least getting info on where they lie. We're going to have the logic bombs from Iconic to do that. Forrest has some more pointed info utility in the likes of the Inox, and he's going to be clearing out the basement where we saw Beast Coast motioning through quite often on their offense, but Astralis never really having a defender down low. I believe Forrest used it as a means of travel a singular time on the entirety of their defense. And as you can see, the floor lies barren in Forrest's eyes, so no info just for him yet, but he still made it all the way over to Red Stairs, so that does have some merit.
First frag of the round finally shows up, this time for Forrest here, as Astralis is going to be able to move in and take that away from Mark, knocking him down, and giving, of course, Astralis the opening advantage to play with. Zeno still going to be waiting for his chance to frag things back for BC as he's tucked deep onto the inside of Master Bedroom here. No opportunity being gifted to him just yet. Another phone call going to come out here. We should expect some follow-through on that from Astralis. Surf, at very minimum, able to, I think, avoid that by getting himself closer towards a mute jammer, but still not seeing that actual play come in from the Astralis roster just yet. They're taking their time and now moving in somewhat lackadaisically will lead to the death of Forrest. J9O, though, will still find the exchange in Master Bedroom against Zeno.
J9O propels himself up red. He'll get rid of the Banshee. Should be a telltale sign that he is here, but nobody more than likely an earshot. Slash, it's a lot bigger fish to fry. Anthony's worried about the double doors here, seeing if somebody will try and rotate in through Boar. Surf on a late flank here. He's going to find himself a J90. Nice little clear here from Beastcoast, and this is starting to look like Astralis could be letting this slip through their fingers. A nice swing from Slash, but Shuttle will shut it down. His second kill, his third kill of the game when they need him most. The glasses, come on! Astralis tie it up at 5-5.
For the players on Beastcoast, losing their edge here now.
Look at this man here. Shuttle's like, yeah, just another day in the office, baby. Yeah, Shuttle, we get it. You're cool, man. We got it.
And so for the players on Beastcoast, finally losing their collective, not able to bring things together here. I've been working so hard towards it. And even moving into this half, things started out well, able to claim around there. But ever since Astralis has been able to slow things down, take a much more cautious approach to the round-around basis, it has been looking way better for them on their attacks here. Now they've been able to tie it up outright. So it's time for Beastcoast to show us a big adjustment here. We are going to see a pretty big departure from normality in terms of their site choice. They're going to head downstairs into living room. We'll see if this shakes things up enough for Astralis to make another mistake and finally get Beastcoast onto map and match point.
I honestly love the way we've been seeing Astralis use the openers for their rounds, especially on this offensive side. They're leaving a lot in the, up in the air so that Beastcoast has to try and figure things out themselves instead of this, very bullheaded way of just taking the map, rushing in, taking these fights. They're taking their time working the map from the outside of the building or trying to find some areas that they can actually slip into the map unbeknownst to Beastcoast. And that forces BC to try and think about what Astralis is doing with this time, right? If you don't have any read on where somebody could potentially be, you're now going to be a little worried as to what they're doing, and Astralis able to slip Forest in downstairs and get in behind Beastcoast, getting that first big kill that was practically the domino effect to really set things up for Astralis throughout the remainder of that round. Fantastic job, and now, after tying things up, looking to take the lead here in round 11.
It's all going to go quiet across the map here. No one really wanting to challenge the other squad just yet, especially so on Villa with how cautious things have been played out here. Astralis are going to proceed, it looks like, primarily over towards the kitchen as well as master areas of the map to start their take over there. Pretty heavy on the drones, of course, to begin with, just to make sure there's no one that's going to try and contest them on the inside of places like kitchen. So we'll see them eventually now move in without too much of a delay afterwards. Shuttle, Forest already on the inside. We should see the rest of the team following through on that pretty quickly as well, as Shuttle is going to begin to opening up the top downs here. And of course, probably to hop back onto his drone too to make sure we didn't see that usual extension for Beastcoast going up to the second floor. Beastcoast have not set up for that kind of traditional gun vault play that we oftentimes see a lot of teams going for against the both sides of this dresser here.
That could be worrying. Mostly because of the angles that play in towards that fireplace area that we saw that Flores drone go down. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Those angles upstairs are extremely pivotal to trying to prevent the take from this side of the map. Yeah, but is anybody occupying them? That's the big question. They know that this is more than likely the take now from the BC point of view because they saw Forest in this position. So they're looking to see if there's going to be any way that they try and take through this top floor, but nothing's happening just yet. Surf is going to be able to take down DP Fire. J90 now starting to take some heat. Forest, he's worked his way in with Osa. They don't even have to do this the traditional way. This spot inside of living room is so hard to try and bunker bust. There's not an angle in the world that can assist Beastcoast in killing Forest. And actually, the shoe's on the other foot. 18 kills. He'll finally get down by an angle from Mark, but nobody was there to try and take out the man as he rotated in to put down this case. And just right there, Forest. To be honest, John, I was thinking the same thing. You gotta help your team. You're upstairs. You're not even occupying a damn angle to assist your team. That's a bait in my book, my friend. So got a little bit of truth behind that alt chat right there.
So Astralis continuing to turn this game around and apparently trying to teach Beastcoast a few lessons along the way here. They take back the lead now, and are going to end up being the first team to make it to match pointer, which is somewhat surprising given the way the rest of this game had played out. Seemed like it was in Beastcoast's hands to fumble, and unfortunately, they have fumbled it now. Need to recover on this final round of regulation play, otherwise Astralis take not only the match, but the full 3 points with it. And all the effort from Beastcoast will get them a solid nothing out of this game.
I would be just elated if I'm Beast Coast if they lose this in this fashion, especially after that last round. Again, that big kill coming out of Forest on Osa, that tells you really all you need to know. Osa's not going to be off on an island by herself unless like they've already set up a shield or something and she's going to be playing that area, right? As soon as that kill goes down in tarps and you're playing a living room defense, you're like, oh, okay, they're totally going to be coming for living room. This totally makes sense. Nobody's done anything on the steady side. They're not doing anything upstairs, so it's totally got to be this. Not for Beast Coast. No supporting angles from upstairs, nothing at all. Osa literally walks in, if you remember this, past the smoke player, just staring at him through the shield, and walks up right to where he's going to put the bomb down. He's like, all right, so I'm going to put this case down. Don't worry about me, guys. I'll be out in a jiff, I promise. And yeah, that was basically the round. Beast Coast just gifting over the space to Astralis on their living room defense.
I just finished like a very serious monologue. Elated means happy, by the way.
Oh
So
my gosh.
You probably
Yeah.
use like distraught.
Yeah,
Probably,
distraught's a better one. Yeah.
All
Man,
right, anyway,
it's been a long 2 days, all right?
Let's get back to this matchup, though. Stokes making some very good points there at the end of the day, and now leaving Astralis in pole position to try and shut down this game. But they've only got one chance to do it, ultimately, at the end of the day. Beast Coast could still rally back and bring us to OT still.
How does elated mean happy? It sounds so mad.
I'm pretty sure it does. I'm going to look like a real idiot now if I'm wrong. But
No, I'm sure that I was the dummy in this situation, I promise. He's going to Google it, ladies and gents. He's doing it right now. So hopefully nothing too crazy happens in the meantime. Anthony is going to be trying to keep things on lock here for study. J90 rather, going to be inside of Art, but hasn't found anybody's home just yet.
Surf as well, still waiting for a chance to play things out from the inside of the piano here. Sees the door get open. He's going to get a little bit curious here, but knows what's on the line for this round, so I think his senses get the better of him here. Backs away from it. He's like, nope, I'm going to let this situation play out. And Forrest, nicely done, catches the aggressive moves from Anthony coming up from the bookshelf corner, shuts him down, and gives Astralis the opening kill. A lot of damage returned onto Forrest, however, so he should be an easy trade at a later point in the round, but still, he's in the game, and more importantly, he still has that last Rotera drone to throw out as well.
All right, so official definition, who's elated in this situation?
Oh, I was right. Yeah.
You were right.
Yeah,
So, all right, so I would say Astralis is pretty elated about that pick onto Anthony. Slash going to be swinging for the hills here on bookshelf, but doesn't have anybody on the receiving end just yet. Beast Coast are looking to get it back in blood as they did lose Anthony earlier on. Forrest on a sliver's worth of HP, but he's out of Rotero drones, so he's just a man with another gun and a few stuns to his name. Astralis will probably feed him to the wolves here soon, unless Surf wants to try and go for a play that we saw earlier on. He'll hop out the window at the bottom of red stairs and be dusted by Forrest. It only took a bullet to take him down, but not even one will connect. And in fact, Iconic will be the first one dead for AST.
Slash with a big play, but it's caught out. Jane, I know, reads it and is able to shut him down. Zeno, the last hope, it seems, from the inside as he goes for two. Still up as well, by the way, yet to be traded. So the numbers evened out. Mark will miss an opportunity to catch a player moving in on repels. It's a quick one that swings past him. Trying to decide if it's worth it to swing back out again. DP Fire will take some heat as he's still trying to knock out Zeno as well. Zeno very ready for the fight, shuts him down as he tries to push back in. That'll be his third on the round. It may have very well pushed his team into at least 1 point for this matchup by triggering OT, but DP Fire still with a chance to stop it now. He's going to move forward. Does he catch the door swing? May have heard the footsteps. He's going to make a play for it. Catches him. Loses a lot of HP in the process, but look at it now. Zeno plays this so smart, just runs away from it. He has to know that the case is not on them, and as a result, BC win it on an all-timer and send us to overtime.
We're going to overtime on Villa between the team that doesn't have a win yet in North America and Astralis, which is one of our best teams in the last season of the NAL. It's pretty wild. I'm completely distraught, discombobulated. We're just trying to get as many vocab points as we can here today. Yeah, my 11th grade teacher will be very proud of me. I haven't used loquacious yet, though. We haven't been. We're very talkative, but they aren't, right? So. That was her favorite word. That was the first word my 11th grade teacher ever taught us was, I almost said lackadaisical again, loquacious. And she did that just so she could say it for the entirety of class. Now, literally, the entire year, anytime anybody was talking, she'd be like, you are acting very loquacious right now. Yeah, I need you to stop. I was like, oh, okay, all right, so I see where this is going. But good news is, folks, we've still got a lot of action here left today, not only in this game as we've reached overtime, but John, This is only our second game of the day.
Yep, absolutely, folks. We still got 3 other games coming up. Parker and Nick, of course, are going to be casting on those. They'll be jumping on the broadcast here in just a little bit. See our community poll results up there on the screen as well. I'd hope Forrest was winning that one, given the performance he's given us inside of this game so far. Surf's been giving us a good show, too, but I think in the cost department, I'm pretty sure Forrest should be acing it out right now.
Yeah, Forrest has the highest credit score out of everybody in this lobby right now. It is immaculate. Man's at a perfect 830 or whatever the top end is. Astralis, though, will be starting things off, obviously trying to work these windows and make sure that nobody tries to swing through and get an early pick. Slash was looking for that there on the boar window, but he discovers nothing, just a few bullets flying by. Astralis looking to try and take control of 90, or at least exert some pressure in the area. Slash is going to try and thwart these plans, though. And this is only going to be 2 pieces of Astralis's puzzle, but it mostly seems focused around this portion of the building. Might try and work their way into study and across here, just maintaining this 90 space as more of a counter angle. Making sure that they can't move their way up through, and you know, if J90 gets in a fight or something like that, could potentially support them if they do try and swing from an angle that they can't cover. Astralis is going to swarm this portion of the building. Iconic is actually going to accidentally drop down the hatch. That wasn't supposed to happen. J90 now off in an island practically, as he is the lone soul in this area. The lone proprietor of Astralis for Plains has the swing and the kill onto Xeno. Saw one on top. Red won't be able to deal anything considerable, but Astralis across the board will, as he'll take down Xeno and Slash.
Astralis making their impact marks known now, as Mark, Surf, and Anthony are the last 3 standing here, trying to fend off the rest of this push from Astralis, with unfortunately just the ghost crew of their remaining squad trying to piece it together, keep themselves well formed as well. You're still going to have one player looks like kind of off on their own, also a little bit deeper down on the first floor, potentially looking to catch some light pushes that may come in through kitchen. More than likely not going to end up happening on this particular round, is due to the way that Astralis are trying to clear things out, but still having it prepped down there. It's actually going to be on red stairs, now that I get a better picture of things here. J90 is actually going to be caught as well, trying to proceed through AVG, through study. So he'll be knocked out there, and he'll bring things into a much more palatable point for Beastcoast, down into a 3 versus 4, assuming that J90 does not get rezzed. It's a good possibility they actually might be able to get him up given where he went down, but Surf as well is there to punish that should someone attempt to bring him back.
Worrisome moment for Astralis. We're hoping to start off on the right foot here in overtime, putting all of that stress on Beast Coast's shoulders, that 7-6 score line, but the shoe may be on the other foot. Moment's notice. One of the clones will get tagged from outside, and that's going to give some solid intel for Beast Coast, at least on one member. J90 will take down Mark. It's a 2 versus 1 versus 5. Iconic will be down, and Surf will dust J90, but there's still so much more to do. We'll have to see what he can get done. The MP5 in hand, but dead to the world now as Astralis bounce back quickly and claim the first OT round.
Nicely done from the players over here on Astralis to bring things back under their control quite quickly as we move into overtime. Now just one more needed to lock things in. It is going to be on their defensive side, though, where a lot of problems were popping up for Astralis earlier in the game. So definitely don't count Beast Coast out of this one just yet. Interesting almost pick there from Mark. They had a Blackbeard saw selected for about 3 seconds. Pretty sure that was a mistake.
He's definitely in meta now. He has EMPs. Come on, you know. His shield isn't made out of paper mache.
The problem is you still have that, like, stigma around Blackbeard, I feel like, to an extent, where, like, if you pick him, you're going to be, like, that guy, like, that picked Blackbeard, you know what I'm saying?
You know what I say?
Exactly, I saw that smile. You know exactly what I'm saying.
Good. That's what I say. I am that guy. Hate me all you want. Your MMR is mine. Oh, my.
So, I mean, who picks up Blackbeard?
I just can't wait to see one team that brings him for EMPs. Like... I swear, please, anybody that is listening inside of the NAL, just do it one time for me. Just one time. It'd be the greatest joke ever.
It's like picking Caveira to an extent, you know. It's almost like an ego pick.
Yeah,
you know?
kind of in the common day, right? Yeah. Blackbeard's just in a really weird spot because, like, if you make the shield useful at all, he's a broken character. So it's just that's how it is, man.
You don't want to be the one that starts that problem.
Exactly. Yeah, the dev team definitely have kind of like that.
That dark bad.
Yeah. They kind of just have like that odd one out, right? Like just the ugly duckling over there in the corner. So.
He's just kind of GA'd, you know?
Poor guy.
Anyway,
Poor guy.
moving into this round now.
You got to feel for him too, because the other seal is Valkyrie, which is like the most used defender in the whole game. So he really got shafted on that one. But either way, though, Beastcoast looking to stay alive here in OT. Astralis moments away from being able to claim victory, but not ultimately the 3 points that they wanted so badly against Beastcoast when they started this game. If they do end up winning here, they'll claim 2, and Beastcoast will get 1 for their troubles of getting this to overtime. So far, so good for Astralis' setup. Might be a quick trigger pull from Beastcoast as smokes will fly through. J90 actually on the receiving end of quite a bit of damage. Don't exactly know where that came from, but I'd assume that it's going to be the Astra windows there. All of this drone intel still in the back pockets of Beastcoast as well, so they're sitting pretty, at least for the time being.
J90 though still remaining very mobile from his current position, waiting for this to happen as Anthony peeks right into his crosshair. Finally, he's gifted that kill. Had to lose a lot of HP to finally get himself in position to find it, but he will eventually find it. Surf and Slash, though, train things out as they attempt to brute force their way through the statuary door deeper into the site, but it's just not having the best of results. It's a good enough result, though, to keep them in the fight here as it's brought down to a 3v2 with Slash now finishing off J90. Still need to get themselves onto the actual site, I do believe, though, and that's where problems are going to continue to potentially surface for this squad now that we've seen Astralis peel back, as of course this was just the extension over here inside of Trophy and Statuary, not the actual site. So a big battle, bring things down very quickly to a 3v2. We still have a whole nother area of the map to fight for.
Yeah, with how these teams have been fighting, especially in the latter half of this game, it's just so crazy how often we see a bloodbath on the other end of the map. So many bodies strung along Trophy and Statuary at the current moment. Beastcoast still occupying. Forrest is going to risk it for the biscuit. He's holding the cross in 90. Not only that, but he's been droned out. This is quite the play right now. It's more than likely going to be a swing here momentarily. Going to have one of the players from BC rotate across the mid floor, try to get over towards main stairs, but double back towards red. It looks like they really want to try and go for a vault plant here. A smoke out for DP Fire. That's going to be his last one of the round as well. It's all down to the sheer firepower of Forrest and DP.
Xeno ready to move forward here. Not going to be able to spot much, though, on the initial clear. That actually has a full clear window into the plant, or at least that would be the appearance of it at the start. Forrest making a big play to immediately take out the support. They don't feel the confidence to go for the plant. Now, they're far too worried about what Forrest may attempt to accomplish, and wasn't even from the best position either. He gets the kill, runs out the timer, and with that, Astralis will be able to shut this one down in their favor. Beautifully done, and once again, a scrappy game at the end of the day, but they get it done, taking both points with them.
Oh my Forrest, Astralis, but again, Forrest, most importantly, doing so much to get this victory over Beastcoast. The official number at the end of the day, folks, Forrest, 22-8-2. The very next person having 12 kills on Beastcoast. An amazing game. One would say immaculate out of Forrest. When his number was called up, he did more than step up. He was able to claim everything that was needed for Astralis here on Villa.
Still some problems showing up for Astralis over the course of this matchup, though. They're definitely going to want to take another look at it. Beastcoast as well with some impressive performance to be able to take this as far as they did, but regardless, that'll do it for the two of us for the day, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to go on a quick break, and when we do come back, we'll have your analysis team ready to break things down.
Well, that was a bit unexpected. Astralis, I mean, getting the win, but the manner in which it happened, I have not seen such an insane one-person carry for a very long time. Move over, Princess Mononoke, because there's a new forest god in town.
That's probably
right.
a great reference.
No.
It is.
No.
Trust me, it
No.
is. And we're going to have Forrest to talk to in a moment here. But before that, wow, I mean, Beastcoast taking it to overtime. And to their credit, they needed Anthony to step up, and he did it. He finally did it, more than doubled his kills. And that actually brought Beastcoast a lot closer to winning that one.
I think it just proves the overall point. Beastcoast needed kills. Beastcoast needed fragging power. They got a little bit of it. They got Anthony on the rolls. He was playing to do something way more substantial. It lasted for the first half. It didn't persist through the rest of the game. So progress is still progress, but yeah, it goes to show exactly what their problem was.
Really didn't feel like it was the best showing from either team, obviously. I mean, I thought that it's a 4-2 split, right, coming into that first half, favoring Beastcoast, and it could have been even worse. I mean, Forrest having a big 4K to start off the game. That was just kind of a preview of what was to come. Even round 6, it was more of a dominant kind of player count favoring Astralis, but even still, the positioning was quite good from Beastcoast in that round. It got a little scary. So, yeah, I don't think that Astralis are going to be super pumped about this game. They did drop a point as far as the standings are concerned by letting it get all the way to overtime, but at the very least, they won the game.
That's true. And we have one of those winning players waiting to chat with us over in Vegas. Forrest is standing by. Forrest, wow, getting the win over Beastcoast. Astralis, getting 2 victories this week after last week. That's got to be a positive, but at the same time, Beastcoast certainly did make this one close, didn't they?
Yeah, they put up a good fight, and last time we played them, same thing kind of happened. We went down and had to bring it back.
Forrest, I mean, I've talked with your coach, Collett, a little bit about kind of the problems that you've been experiencing as a team a little bit. And one thing that he talked to me about was how you guys have been experiencing some burnout. Do you feel that that's something that's been affecting you as a player as well as your teammates? And how do you get around burnout for a team that goes to so many LAN events, for a team that's playing so consistently here in the NAL?
I think me personally, I don't have a problem with burnout. I'm kind of I like to grind, so I've been grinding for so long, I've kind of used it already. And the rest of the guys have been doing, their own burnout management and such, and doing the steps necessary to, show up to practice 100% all the time and, get that stress off at the end. So, I think we're taking the right steps in the direction.
Hey, Forrest, when you go home after, a game like this, you had 22 kills, you're going 8-6 against a team that has been struggling. Is this one of those games where you're glad you get away with the win, but you're not really happy with the result?
Yeah. Definitely, we had a very slow start. We had, I think at some point, some dudes were just didn't having kills. We were just getting kind of cheese picked and, just getting walked on a lot. So we had to, kind of change our gameplay in, mid to half. And, even though we still, got 2 points out of it, obviously we wanted 3. This close, in the stage, this coming up half, we have to get these, 3 points every game, or, we're not going to go to the major or even, potentially get first place again.
Game starts off, you're 1-2, you're down by 1 round, call-out calls a timeout, a little bit of a discussion happens, and then there's still 2 more rounds lost from that point. When it's 1-4, what is it that you guys do to finally claw that 1 round back in the first half and then not allow what happened in those several losses to then continue through the rest of the game? How did you bounce back after round 5?
Just try something different, I tried a different route this time and played a different kind of, zone, and it worked out pretty well. The rest of the guys did the same thing too.
All right, there you go. Well, a hard-fought victory, but a victory nonetheless. So thanks for taking the time to chat with us a little bit. Congrats on the win, and good luck with the practice going into next week.
Thank you.
All right, there you go, Forrest.
He's MVP of the day. I'm just saying it right now.
I
don't care who else does whatever throughout the rest of the day. 22 kills is still ridiculous, man.
Yeah, 22 and 8. For a while, it seemed like Astralis, the rest of the team just did not want to win that one. And Forrest's no, I'm putting the entire team on my back. I'm going to carry you across the finish line no matter what. And he did just that. I mean, what more can you say? 7 opening kills, 22 total. Great individual performance, but still definitely a concerning game if you're an Astralis fan, I'd say.
Yeah, 7-0 on entry. I mean, just ignoring the massive 22 on the stat line. Like a 7-0, I don't know if I've seen a 7-0 entry game before.
Does he cross Blaz for the season already? That's ridiculous, dude.
Maybe.
Seems that way.
Yeah, I'm just looking at this game. You know, I kind of brought it up to Forrest, but this is not a game Astralis go home happy with. At the half, 2 of their players had 0 kills. I think there's got to be some, you know, a little red alert right now for them. DP Fire and Shuttle, in my opinion, this season have had very inconsistent games where it's like some halves they're not even in the server, and yeah, they end up with decent stats. You know, Shuttle has 6, DP has 7, but you can't keep relying on guys to, you know, Force has 22 kills in this game. Through the first half, he had more kills himself than the rest of their team. If he doesn't have this like standout performance with DP and Shuttle dropping 0 kills apiece, like they're not going to go very far. They need the other guys to show up because Forrest cannot, like, that was an unbelievable just solo carry performance from him.
Yeah, we only talked to the winners here in the NL, but when we talked to Forrest, it really kind of felt like a loser's interview because I don't think they were happy with that, and it's kind of tough. I do want to like highlight some of the stuff going on Beastcoast though, because they were managing to like really get a lot of those kills in the early round. One player that we talked about and we highlighted him in the pregame is, maybe highlight's not the right word. We put a spotlight on him in the pregame as having not the greatest of opening 3 games. Anthony was actually showing up on Ash, okay? He was actually getting in, going to kills. Forrest said that they were getting walked out a lot, and I thought Anthony was doing a great job of that, picking up those fights early. 8 kills, more than doubles his total fragging power in the NL this stage. So I'm glad to see him, you know, having a much better game, even though he's only going 8 and 12, 50 costs. It's still nice to see him putting up those performances that we've seen him put up in previous years. I mean, there was definitely a time where Anthony was the best player on Beast Coast.
Yeah.
It's good to kind of see shades of that once again.
We're talking about last year's Beast Coast, back when he was mostly trying to frag out playing Hibana, which is like definitely a sign that on a team like Beast Coast that had a completely different outlook last year, it wasn't working out then. Now seeing the way that he's translated to this year, you maybe wonder if what he was doing on Beast Coast was literally just the best player on a bad team. And now we're looking at a situation where he actually can prove bouncing back after a mediocre year is possible, even if you've had 3 games where a lot of people have been clowning you around for a bit. I am curious to see how far this raises him rating-wise. It may not, because again, cost was around 50%, but I do like the fact that he had 3 straight games of near nothing and then has this kind of performance. Credit where credit is due, Anthony. That's honestly a really good improvement.
Yeah, other players on the team too bringing their kill numbers up a bit. We did see, you know, Mark usually in the top half of the stats for the first 3 games for Beast Coast, at the bottom this time around. And I feel like that's where a sub coach should be, right? Numbers wise. Like, no shade towards Mark. So. But yeah, you'd hope your other players are outplaying you numbers wise, right? So I think that was an encouraging sign too. Beast Coast coming up a little bit, not enough to get the win, but there's something there. We wanted to see signs of life. We saw it. Let's talk about one of those signs in particular as we take a look at round number 3. And this was really just kind of an instance of Astralis giving Beast Coast maybe more room to work with than they should have.
Yeah, this is one of those frustrating rounds, I think, coming in from Astralis where they really shouldn't have let it get this bad. They're in the advantage, right? It's a 5v4 Astralis. They're holding on to the kitchen bomb site. They have a pulse on J90, but the pulse is looking the wrong way. He's looking at Astro stairs. And what did Beast Coast do? They recognize, well, listen, there's nobody on the site. Let's walk on in. And Surf, I think, maybe thinks he has the defuse kit here. He gets into a really good position. When they run this bomb set again, Surf does have the kit. He instead goes kind of around, gets a better angle. J90 and the Pulse does eventually die, and they get Mark into that plant spot. But like, where is Astralis? They're not up above. Top floor is being controlled by Beast Coast. They're clearly not in the site. We saw Iconic was playing on the staircase, and they did have a lot of pressure kind of around that living room, kind of Astro side of things. But like, you've really got to have better awareness than that. I think that's kind of where that communication maybe was breaking down for Astralis early in this game.
Yeah, it was weird because in that round we saw Forrest start off, read the entry really well, and then all of a sudden the site hit proper is something Beast Coast feel like they just see through for a second, long enough for them to actually get the advantage, find like places on the site for them to sit, and then it's just up to Forrest at the very end of the round. He starts it and finishes the thing, and Astralis go from having an advantage to suddenly having to call a timeout right after that round was done.
True enough. Now the second round we're going to take a look at is the very last round of the game. This is just another instance of Forrest just clutching out. I mean, like I said, he carried. Like a lot of times people say, oh, that guy carried, right? That player carried, right? But this is a true hardcore carry for one player of their team. Good example right here.
As we like to mention, he is the man that really did pull them through this game. 2v3 coming in, overtime match point for Astralis, of course, playing on Jaeger as well, an opera that doesn't, tend to have the greatest of guns these days. But standing beside DP Fire, of course, they are defending up here, trying to hold down the top floor. But it is going to be kind of difficult, just given the fact that Beastcoast going for those drone outs, right? They're going to try to clear them out. And it's nice that he's able to clutch this out eventually, but it's, again, kind of a poor situation that has to get to this spot.
To me, this is like one of those rounds where, okay, you're in a 2v3, but you have Forrest alive. The guy's got 20 kills. You're like, somehow Astralis is going to win this round. If Forrest is alive, you have confidence in winning this round. And something that's not even like, that you maybe don't even think about, is Astralis did make adjustments going into this overtime round. Remember, they were running that Mira, playing red more aggressively. They changed the strategy. And Beastcoast, they did kind of take advantage of it, but they weren't able to kill Forrest.
I'm definitely worried about as soon as he comes back to the rotate. If he dies here, there's genuinely not really much of a chance, but there's still the down back outside, DP Fire. All he has to do is distract for long enough for Forrest to get 1 kill on Slash, and it means Surf is not in position to come back around in enough time to either reclaim Diffuser and start the plant, or force onto Forrest before he just ducks back for cover. It's really good spatial awareness from Forrest because he was on another plane of existence in this game.
Yep, absolutely, and that's exactly what Astralis needed to get the win against the Beastcoast. That seemed a little bit resurgent here. Curious to see how they're going to take that into next week. But for now, we're going to take a quick break. Don't go anywhere, though. We got a really great match coming up. I'm hyped about this. Our two top teams coming into today, Sonics and TSM going head-to-head, should be a great one on NAL right when we come back.